Part 44. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 431. No one knows why this perverted man can become so fierce all of a sudden. Not only can it dodge bullets, but it can also move as fast as a beast. No one even had time to react before he was almost rushing in front of them. You can even see the bloodthirsty light in his eyes. Fortunately, Xiao Yuyu stepped forward at this time. As if he had changed into a different person, his muscles swelled rapidly and his speed increased greatly. In a flash, he collided with the perverted man. The moment the two collided, Xiao Yuyu used his strong body to knock the young man away. Seeing this scene, Boss Yang and others, who looked panicked just now, immediately cheered loudly. Well done. Hurry, catch him quickly, don't let him escape. After listening to everyone's words, Xiao Yuyu immediately rolled up his sleeves and strode towards the perverted man who had landed on the ground. After the collision just now, the perverted man's body was obviously injured, and his arms showed a strange twist. But he didn't seem to feel any pain, and he refixed his dislocated arm with a twist. He didn't even blink during the whole process. What kind of monster is he? Why did a good patient suddenly become so strong? Captain Li, who was holding a gun, did not dare to relax for a moment, and the gun was always aimed at the young man. After hearing his words, Boss Yang and the other 5 people also showed confusion on their faces. He is definitely not a normal person. It is impossible for a normal person to have such physical fitness, let alone such skills. Did he really learn some crooked ways? I don't think so. He feels like a mental patient I've met before. At this moment Lu Tianxian suddenly spoke. I was participating in an event outside, and a mentally ill person suddenly came up to me. His eyes were similar to this person's. The mentally ill guy looked small, but the 3 security guards at the scene couldn't hold him down and almost let him break free. As soon as these words came out, everyone present couldn't help but look at each other in shock. So this person not only has cancer, he also has mental illness. I guess he imagined a personality that has successfully cultivated immortality. I have read scientific reports before and said that the human body actually still has a lot of potential that has not been developed. It is just that the brain is afraid that your body will be damaged, so it limits some abilities. It seems this statement is true. I suspect that he read the literature on immortality cultivation on the internet and got himself confused. It's not impossible. At this moment, everyone also reached a consensus, that is, the murderer they were facing at this moment was a mental patient who suffered from severe delusions and performed deep hypnosis on himself. Once this was clear, everyone's fear of him became much less. And at this time, Xiao Yuyu fought with this person again. Xiao Yuyu, who has already invited an immortal to take over, has a strength that cannot be compared to that of a mortal. Physical abilities in all aspects have skyrocketed. Within 2 seconds, he grabbed the perverted young man's shoulders, and then forced him to the ground with a throw from his back. No matter how hard he struggled, he couldn't break free. When Captain Li saw this scene, he rushed forward with handcuffs in hand. The young man was handcuffed in 3 or 2 strokes. Now everyone finally breathed a sigh of relief. And Xiao Yuyu also walked back in front of everyone with a proud look on his face. He patted his granite-like chest muscles and said, "Whatever, it's up to me to take action. Take the handle and pinch this. But this guy is really strong." Just when he said this, the perverted man who had been handcuffed just now suddenly exerted force. Click. Both arms were broken by himself. It hurts just looking at everyone. It seems that his paranoia is really serious, Hua said, touching her chin. I'll see if I can regain my consciousness. As he said that, he walked up to the perverted man and kept reciting scriptures. As the sound of scriptures continued to penetrate into the ears of the perverted man, he who was originally extremely manic actually calmed down a little bit. The bloodthirsty light in his eyes gradually dimmed. After a minute, his eyes became clear again. Tomorrow we are going to hold a press conference at the Municipal Bureau. We hope that the 6 Taoist priests will also be able to attend. At that time, I will also apply to the Municipal Bureau to commend the actions of several of them. It was replaced by an intense feeling of confusion. This Taoist priests, please wait a moment. As soon as he finished speaking, Yang Lin's figure disappeared. Seeing the young man's appearance, Boss Yang and the other 6 couldn't help but let out a long sigh. Pandeo has always been following you, but you just didn't realize it. Today is really thanks to several Taoist priests. If it weren't for your help, I'm afraid there would have been one more victim. Until he saw his embarrassed appearance, a memory that had been sealed deep in his brain immediately came up. But Pandeo's worries seemed to be unnecessary. You did a good job today and cooperated well. Although this man is the murderer of serial murders, he is not a poor man trying to survive. Looking at the scene in front of him and the people present, the young man seemed to have completely forgotten what had just happened. As they spoke, the 6 of them were about to turn around and leave. I am. The smile became even happier. Hearing Captain Li's words, the 6 people suddenly showed expressions of bewilderment. Upon hearing this familiar voice, everyone immediately looked in the direction of the sound. But at this moment, Captain Li suddenly stepped forward. No, I'm afraid that you will make things worse. After all, the 6 of you are not ordinary people now. You all have special powers that ordinary people can't imagine. I have never participated as a Taoist priest. We didn't catch the murderer so quickly. Forget it, we have done everything we need to do, now let's leave it to the police. Are you afraid that we'll mess things up? Master, why are you here? After a quick look, he realized that Yang Lin had appeared there at some point. Yes, this matter has finally been resolved, and it's time for us to go back. Captain Li asked you to go, so you go. You did a very good job this time. Tomorrow you will attend the press conference as normal. After that, go back to the Taoist temple, and Pandeo will teach you some new things. The moment they saw Yang Lin, everyone present showed surprise on their faces. After receiving Yang Lin's praise, the 6 people instantly felt an inexplicable encouragement. Just when a few people were hesitating, a familiar voice suddenly came from behind a tree nearby. Is there anything else you can do about Captain Li? It is conceivable that they will definitely become the protagonists of the scene by then. Although they often attended various public events in the past, they had never attended a press conference of the Public Security Department. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 432. Early the next morning, the program team did not arrive at the Taoist temple as usual. Instead, he chose to go to Luteng City Public Security Bureau with Boss Yang and other 6 people to participate in today's press conference. When they heard early in the morning that Boss Yang and 6 other people had assisted the police in solving a serial murder case last night, they were completely shocked. At the same time, they also realized what kind of sensation this matter would cause once fans and viewers knew about it. So they immediately led 6 people to the city bureau. When they arrived, the press hall of the municipal bureau was already crowded with reporters from various media. After all, this serial murder case caused quite a stir. When these reporters learned that the city bureau had solved the case so quickly, they naturally couldn't sit still. The only thing that confused them was that when they came for the interview yesterday, the policeman from the city bureau seemed unwilling to say anything. There has been no progress in the case. How come it only took one night to not only solve the case, but also catch the murderer? This progress is too rapid. Just as the media reporters were preparing their questions for the meeting, Captain Li, the leader of this task force, also stepped onto the stage. He first gave a brief introduction to the case, and then introduced the process of solving the case. In this case, because our police did not have many clues at the beginning, we found several professional personnel and asked them for help. These professionals also gave their unique insights and played a vital role in solving our case. Hearing this, the media reporters below suddenly looked confused. They really couldn't imagine what Captain Lee meant by professionals. Aren't they the most professional in solving crimes? In addition, during the arrest of criminals, these professionals also stepped forward and successfully captured the brutal criminals. On behalf of all the citizens of Luteng City, I would like to express my heartfelt thanks to these people. Next, I'll invite a few people to come on stage. As he spoke, he stood up from his chair. The next second, 6 Taoist priests wearing blue robes came up from the left side of the stage. At this moment, the leaders of the Municipal Bureau also came up from the other side and awarded them certificates, medals, and a check with a face value of 100,000 yuan. Originally this thing was completely normal. After all, it was such a big thing as helping the police solve a serial murder case, so he should be commended accordingly. But when the media reporters saw the faces of these people, they immediately couldn't stand it any longer. Hey, go ahead, these people look familiar. I also feel like I've seen them somewhere. Wait a minute, is the one on the far left Kun Kun? Is the one in the middle Lu Tianxian? The one on the far right is Hua Hua, right? Oh my god, I just said they look familiar, and it's them. I also said that a group of Taoist priests came down to help the police solve the case. It turned out to be a few of them. Aren't they filming a variety show? Why did they go to the police station? So they were filming a variety show while helping the police solve the serial murder case. Isn't this reality show a bit too showy? It's bad, they have been assimilated by Yang Lin. After recognizing the identities of several people on the stage, the media reporters immediately went into an uproar. Not to mention the viewers who are watching the live show. Hey, let me go. I just said that the filming location of today's show has changed from a Taoist temple to a police station. I thought one of their celebrities had collapsed and entered the police station. There are quite a few celebrities entering the game this year, and I'm quite worried about which one of them will enter. The result was not that one of them got in, but that they sent someone else in. This is too magical. I really want to know how they helped the police uncle solve the case. The live broadcast room was abuzz for a while, and what the audience wanted to know most was the details about solving the case. When the media reporters asked questions, the audience's idea was quickly satisfied. Hello teachers, I'm very curious about how you helped the police solve this case. Can you tell me the details? A local TV reporter holding a microphone was the first to be called upon. As soon as he opened his mouth, it was the question that everyone was most concerned about. After hearing this question, the 6 people on the stage looked at me, and I looked at you, and finally the microphone was handed over to Boss Yang. After getting the microphone, Boss Yang just hesitated for a moment and then told the whole story exactly. This includes using various Taoist secret methods to find out the identity of the deceased, recalling the memory of the deceased, and locating the location of the murderer through secret methods and other related details. The reporters below and the audience of the show also had brilliant eyes after hearing this. They didn't expect that the process of solving the case would be so exciting. I didn't expect that several artists would have mastered so many things after just a few days of practicing Taoism. Their fans were even more excited. But at this time, another reporter asked a second question. Teachers, if you were asked to choose between the two professions of artist and Taoist priest, which one would you choose? As soon as these words came out, all the viewers and fans immediately cheered up. Because judging from the current situation, these celebrities seem to like the current status of Taoist priests very much. Under everyone's expectant eyes, several people took turns picking up the microphone. The first one to speak was still Boss Yang. In fact, We have been considering this issue recently. If we can put aside all external factors, I think becoming a Taoist priest is also a very good choice. After she finished speaking, Reba also answered very seriously. I think maybe being a Taoist priest can give you more experience and gain more than being a star. I think maybe a Taoist priest is more suitable for me now, Huahua replied after thinking for a while. My answer is the same as theirs. I have already thought about it. After my contract expires, I will find a Taoist temple and officially start practicing Kunkan answered more simply. Seeing that the 6 celebrities present all chose Taoist priests instead of celebrities, the reporters present immediately looked at each other. They really can't understand what kind of magic power exists in Taoist priests who practice hard in the mountains, eat rosy clouds and drink dew, compared to the glamorous stars. As for the fans, they said it was not good. It seems that their idol is quitting the entertainment industry and joining another circle. Other celebrities want to be famous, but now they want to be immortal. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 433. As soon as the press conference ended, news spread like wildfire that several top figures in the entertainment industry wanted to change careers. The already restless entertainment industry was instantly in an uproar. However, these obviously cannot affect Boss Yang and the other 6 people. They immediately returned to Pagoda Mountain after the press conference. There was still a hint of expectation in my heart. But they still remembered what Yang Lin said to them last night. As soon as they returned to the Taoist temple, they saw Yang Lin standing quietly at the door of the Taoist temple. Obviously he has been waiting here for a long time. As soon as the few people were about to speak, Yang Lin motioned for them to stop talking. Then he pointed to his ears. Seeing this, the 6 people quickly pricked up their ears and listened. But after listening for a long time, I still heard nothing. After a while, several people came to Yang Lin's side with confusion on their faces. Master, what did you want us to listen to? We didn't hear anything. It's just that there's no special sound. Facing the doubts of several people, Yang Lin immediately pointed to his heart again. Don't use your ears, feel it with your heart, and you will hear something different. Feel it with your heart. With deep confusion, several people tried to listen again. After almost a few seconds, Lu Tianxian's expression suddenly changed. Because just now she seemed to really hear something. Please pray to the gods to protect my home and my family from illness and disaster. Please ask the gods to let my son bring back a wife this year. Bless me to be single before the end of this year. I hope I can lose weight successfully and never be a chubby kid again. Listening to these sounds, Lu Tianxian subconsciously looked around. However, there was no one beside her at this moment, but there were many pilgrims in the direction of the main hall offering incense. But her position had to be at least 50 meters away from the main hall, so she couldn't hear them. And this voice didn't sound like a speaking voice, but rather like a voice that was directly conveyed to the bottom of her heart. Could it be that these voices are the inner prayers of those people? Just when Lu Tianxian vaguely understood something, Huahua on the side seemed to sense something. The expression on his face changed slightly. Then came Reba, Boss Yang, Kunkan, and Xiao Yuiyu. After hearing the voice coming from the bottom of their hearts, the faces of several people became surprisingly consistent. After looking at each other, they finally confirmed that what they heard was not an illusion. Did you all hear that? At this moment, Yang Lin's voice came again, with a faint smile on his face. Several people nodded at the same time. Heard it? It's amazing why we can hear their voices. Yes, do we have the ability to read minds? If this is the case, wouldn't we be invincible in the future? For a while, several people actually became a little excited. However, At this moment Yang Lin started to explain. No, what you hear is not the voice of others, but the wishes of all living beings. They are sincerely praying, and as people who are directly related to this Taoist temple, you can receive it. The power of all sentient beings' wishes. Yes, everyone will have different visions. When they express their wishes, they will have the power of will. As the object of appeal of vision, it will bear corresponding cause and effect. So the person responsible for these causes and effects is Pandeo himself. After Yang Lin's explanation, everyone suddenly understood. But new doubts soon arose. Then Master, please tell us what to do. We won't become the objects of others' prayers, and we shouldn't have the power to pray for us. Reba was the first to speak. Several others nodded aside. However, Yang Lin's next words shocked them. Of course you are the object of other people's prayers, and you will also have a lot of wishes, but you haven't felt it yet. If Pandeo is right, any one of you has more than 10 million fans on the internet. These fans will discuss content related to you every day. In their hearts, you are their belief. They have desires and thoughts for you, and over time they have formed a wish. So strictly speaking, each of you is a person contaminated by the great cause and effect. Once you make a wrong step, you will be doomed and suffer the backlash of cause and effect. Upon hearing this, the expressions of the 6 people suddenly changed. If you think about it carefully, it seems that it is exactly what Yang Lin said. Many famous stars in the entertainment industry have had troubles one after another. Either he gets seriously ill, his house collapses, or he dies young. It seems that I have shouldered the wishes of too many fans and suffered the backlash of cause and effect. Several people couldn't help but feel scared for a while. Then what should we do, Master? Get out of the circle to save our lives. Xiao Yuiyu said with a worried look. That's not necessary. The reason I'm telling you these things today is naturally to tell you the solution. Come here with Pandeo. After saying that, Yang Lin led the 6 people into the Taoist temple and walked all the way to a secluded place at the back before Yang Lin took out a scroll of scriptures from his hand. This volume is the Sutra of the Great Tao of Self-Transformation. It teaches you how to dissolve the power of the wishes of all living beings and how to use the power of the wishes of all living beings. As long as you master it, you can not only resolve the side effects caused by the fans' wishes, but also use the wishes of these fans to exert power far beyond your imagination. As soon as these words came out, the 6 people's eyes suddenly lit up. He hurriedly took the scripture into his hands. After reading through it, several people suddenly felt enlightened. I fell into it unconsciously. By the time they came to their senses again, several hours had passed. And Yang Lin has long since disappeared. I realized, I know how to use the power brought by those fans. Kunkan suddenly said loudly. As the person with the most fans among everyone present, although Kunkan apparently only has over 10 million fans, in fact this number has more than 10 times. From 30 to 40 years old to 6 or 7 years old, no one knows him. Therefore, he also has the most willpower. I saw that he first tried to sense the power of wishes attached to himself according to the content in his Great Wish Sutra. The next second a huge force poured into his body. At the same time, there were also some various random sounds. These are the wishes of his negative fans and true fans. In an instant, Kunkan's body exuded a powerful aura, and with the blessing of this aura, he unexpectedly rushed from the beginning to the realm of Taoist masters. And as time goes by, this level continues to rise. The other 5 people were not willing to lag behind when they saw this. Suddenly, 6 astonishing auras appeared on the pagoda mountain. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 434. As the 6 people successfully mastered the use of wish power, their progress in practice can be described as rapid. Every day you can see new changes in them. He became more and more proficient in using the methods taught by Yang Lin. They were even better at solving the problems of pilgrims, and soon the six of them had made quite a name for themselves. He is called a little fairy by pilgrims from all over the world. Time passed day by day under such circumstances, and they even gradually fell in love with the days of practicing in the mountains. If it weren't for the program staff who were still filming there every day, they would have almost forgotten that they were filming a program. A week passed in a row like this. Early that morning, as soon as Yang Lin woke up from trance, he felt an inexplicable throbbing. The day has finally arrived, earlier than I imagined. And what he was talking about was nothing else but his realm. He had already reached the late stage of Yangshen realm before. For a period of time, he has been absorbing a large amount of wishes from living beings every day, as well as extracting their karma from many gods in the Dragon Kingdom. All these powers were eventually transformed into his own mana. Even though he tried his best to suppress these powers, he even gave some of them to Boss Yang and 6 other people. But the volume was too great, and eventually it reached its peak little by little. As long as he leaks a little bit of power now, it will immediately lead to the disaster of becoming an immortal. Originally this was supposed to be a good thing and something he had always longed for. But since the last Yangshen tribulation, he has realized that the tribulation in this world is different from that in the previous life, and the power is more than 10 times stronger. Rushing through the tribulation will inevitably result in death and no life. What's more, there is an evil cultivator lurking in the dark in this world. If he is aware of it, he might attack him while he is going through the tribulation. So when Yang Lin felt that he was about to survive the disaster, he immediately made up his mind. He will take this opportunity to destroy all the formations in the Dragon Kingdom that steal the country's destiny. Thinking of this, he immediately walked out of the room and found Boss Yang and 6 other people who were in the Taoist temple helping pilgrims come to solve their problems. After gathering the 6 people together, he immediately said, "From today on, only one person is left here. The other 5 people are going to other cities with Bandeo. We have an important thing to do." Perhaps seeing the serious expression on Yang Lin's face, the 6 people suddenly showed excitement. "What is it? Is it to get rid of demons to defend the way, or to benefit the common people?" Needless to say, it must be a major matter that affects the lives of countless people. "I want to go, I don't want to stay here. I want to go too. I feel that my level has improved a lot in the past 2 days, but I haven't had a chance to show it yet." "That's right. I spend all day here either telling fortunes for the old folks or looking for dogs to tell their fortunes." Facing the few people who showed signs of excitement, Yang Lin immediately looked a little more serious. "This time is no joke. You may encounter various dangers, life-threatening ones. You think about it before making a decision." Seeing that Yang Lin didn't seem to be joking, several people finally hesitated a little this time. But just when Yang Lin thought they would choose to retreat, the 6 of them gathered together and then stretched out his right hand. "Rock, paper, scissors, whoever loses stays here. Winning or losing is determined 3 times, no one is allowed to cheat. Rock paper scissors." In the end, after a duel, Reba had no choice but to lose to several others and was forced to stay in Pagoda Mountain. The other 5 people were all in high spirits. Seeing this, Yang Lin could only shake his head. The next second he took out his cell phone, which he had not used for a long time, from his pocket and dialed a number on it. As soon as the call was connected, he said to the other end, "Arrange for them to come over, we are ready to go. Of course it's to get rid of the demon guard and save the common people." After hearing what the group of Taoists said, Boss Yang and everyone in the program team looked confused. "As soon as you give the order, Uncle Master, we will immediately rush to various places to break the formation." "Teacher Yu, we are still recording the show. Where are you going?" "Looking at this battle, is it possible that some demon has been born in our Dragon Kingdom?" Just when everyone was still confused, Yang Lin nodded to the Taoists as a greeting. Before the call was hung up, Yang Lin headed down the mountain with a group of Taoist priests, Boss Yang, and 5 other people. Breaking the formation. Breaking what formation? After seeing Yang Lin, a group of Taoists immediately took the initiative to salute and said, Pandeo has sensed that the dragon veins there have been damaged. Something abnormal must have happened in the demon city in recent days. I was recording the program well, but suddenly I was about to run out of Demon Slayer guard. He spoke so confidently, as if he was about to sacrifice his life, but in fact he didn't know exactly what he was going to do. After the call was connected, a familiar voice came from the other end of the phone. When a large group of them appeared at the high-speed rail station, all the passengers at the high-speed rail station were stunned. Ah, this. What's going on? What is Teacher Yang doing? It wasn't until Yang Lin, Boss Yang, and the other 5 were about to leave that a staff member from the program team hurriedly grabbed Xiao Yuiyu, who looked excited. As soon as these words came out, everyone realized the seriousness of the problem. This sudden change made them unable to deal with it. Ah! Is the show still being recorded? Upon hearing the staff member's words, Xiao Yuiyu immediately responded. The leaders were none other than the juniors of Yang Lin from Longhu Mountain. Uncle Master, people from all sects are here. We have carried out various drills in advance according to your instructions. Follow them, and keep shooting. If you want to be recorded, just follow, but I tell you this time it will be very dangerous. This is our bounden duty as cultivators. Without wasting any time, he picked up his things and prepared to rush to the high-speed rail station. It feels like they are going to do something big. At this time, everyone in the program team still didn't quite understand what was going on. Now that you are all ready, let's set off today. The first stop is to go to the Magic City and break the formation there first. Half an hour later, amidst the puzzled expressions of everyone in the program group, a large group of Taoist priests wearing Taoist robes gathered at Pagoda Mountain. I have mastered all the art of inviting gods and various formations. Just when they were about to report the situation to their superiors, the phone of the person in charge of the scene rang in advance. For a moment, the staff of the program team also looked at each other in shock. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 435. At Luteng City High-Speed Railway Station, Yang Lin came here with a group of Taoist priests, Boss Yang, and several other disciples. The high-speed rail station, which was already bustling with people, became even more crowded in an instant. Everyone's eyes were focused on this group of people wearing Taoist robes. It's not that they are curious, but the formation of Yang Lin and others is really too big, with nearly 200 Taoist priests crowded together. That scene must be so spectacular. So much so that they all ignored that there was a big star like Boss Yang among the crowd. What happened? Why did so many Taoist priests come out all at once? Large-scale cosplay events are still held by Taoist priests. There must be hundreds of people here. Where are they going? Looking at where they are waiting for the bus, they should be going to Shanghai. Magic City? Did something happen in Magic City again? I haven't heard of it, but with such a large group of Taoist priests all flocking to the Magic City, they can't be traveling to the Magic City. The leader seems to be Yang Lin. This reminds me of what happened in our Green Vine before. Could it be that there is a similar situation in the Magic City? While all the passengers were talking about it, Yang Lin had already bought high-speed rail tickets for everyone present through Luteng's official channels. After confirming that no one was missing, they crowded into a train again. A group of nearly 200 people occupied 2 carriages. What happened at the scene soon appeared on the internet in Longguo through the lenses of passers-by. When netizens saw this situation, they immediately began to speculate on the reason, just like passengers at a high-speed rail station. Some people say that a monster appears in the magical city. Some people say that a 1,000-year-old tomb was discovered in the demon city, and there are unclean things hidden in it. As time goes by, netizens' speculations become more and more outrageous. But there are also a few people who vaguely guess the truth based on what happened in Luteng City before. After all, the Magic City also has a tall building similar to that of Luteng City. Moreover, there have been various rumors about this high-rise building over the years. Construction began in the last century and it took nearly 10 years to finally be completed. After it was built, it became controversial because of its unique shape. Someone once suggested that this building's saber-like shape represents the city's luck. However, it was just treated as a joke by netizens. At the same time that rumors were spreading on the internet, a group of business elites in suits and ties were gathering together in the top-floor conference room of the Shanghai Financial Center building. The huge space did not become lively because of their presence, but instead seemed a little lifeless. Everyone looked at the man sitting at the top of the long table. He was a feminine man in his early 40s with elegant appearance and easygoing temperament. Paired with a pair of gold-rimmed glasses, he looks like a business elite man. But at this moment, this business elite man had a dark face, his eyes were wandering, and he didn't know what he was thinking. After a full 10 minutes, he finally said, "When will the group of Dragon Kingdom Taoist priests arrive?" As soon as he finished asking this question, a middle-aged man, also wearing a suit and with oily hair, stood up with a respectful expression. According to the flight information they took, they will arrive in Magic City at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. President, I don't think we need to worry about them at all. After all, our location is the most prosperous area in the entire Magic City. We also have the official protection of the Magic City. They should not dare to mess around. But as soon as he finished speaking, the elegant man sitting at the top shook his head. This time is different from before. Those Dragon Kingdom Feng Shui masters who came before were all a bunch of trash and were dismissed casually. And this time there is an expert among them, and this person still has a very high prestige in the Dragon Kingdom. Then what should we do? It can be achieved by setting up a great Feng Shui array, activating nearby dragon veins, and causing the Earth Dragon to turn over. The statues of ghosts and gods that were clearly carved from stone seem to be coming to life at this moment. Xiao Kan understands my thoughts best. The rest of you are like stupid pigs. A sneer appeared on his face. And that Lord will also officially become a god. On that day, we will accompany the Lord God to the kingdom of gods. As soon as he entered here, Yang Lin seemed to have a premonition of something. There is a gloomy evil spirit constantly flying out from behind the secret door. Well, you go ahead, don't make too much noise, and don't let anyone see it. 10 minutes later, everyone present left, leaving only the elegant man. At the end of the corridor, an ugly statue of ghosts and gods was sitting there quietly. The atmosphere in the conference room instantly became weird. So you know what to do. Hearing his words, the elegant man immediately nodded with satisfaction. Aren't they still on the high-speed train? As long as we let the high-speed train they ride on have an accident, we can naturally solve it easily. Stop it? How to stop it? And so did everyone else in the conference room. Everyone was even more confused now. The formation in Luteng City has been destroyed by them, and the formation in Magic City does not allow any mistakes. After sitting quietly for a while, he opened a secret door on the side, connected by a long corridor. Listening to everyone expressing their determination, the elegant man nodded immediately. The journey from Greenvine to Magic City is more than 800 kilometers, and it will inevitably pass through some mountains and tunnels. What you have to do is to find a way to make these mountains and tunnels. Having said this, the elegant man showed an extremely enthusiastic expression in an instant. The next second they all stood up. It couldn't be easier to just create simple landslides and accidents. Find a way to stop them from coming. At this point, although the elegant man did not continue speaking, Everyone present had already understood what he meant. Suddenly everyone in the conference room turned their attention to the elegant man again. At the same time, Yang Lin and others, who were riding the high-speed train on the other side, were also heading south. The speeding high-speed train soon entered a mountainous area. In just 1 month's time, the national destiny of the Dragon Kingdom will be completely cut off, and the destiny of the Dragon Kingdom will also be gained by me. At this moment, a man who looked slightly younger suddenly said, "Understood, President, we will make arrangements right away. This time I want to see if these Taoist priests are as amazing as they say online. I think the President's intention is to cause an accident on their way to interrupt their trip, or to directly get rid of them on the way." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 436. On the high-speed train leading from Greenvine to the Magic City, Yang Lin's eyes gradually drifted as he looked at the train speeding at 280 km per hour and the receding scenery around him. Just now he had a premonition of something. So he immediately released his soul to check the road ahead. After some inspection, he quickly discovered the clues. At a location about 100 kilometers away from the Magic City, several men in suits and leather shoes were jumping quickly among the mountains with a suitcase in their hands. From time to time, he would jump onto a tree more than 10 meters high, like a nimble ape. All complex terrain is like flat land to them. Even if they encounter a large river that they cannot cross, they can use something similar to escape techniques to easily cross it. Seeing their appearance, Yang Lin in his soul form couldn't help but show a hint of interest. Is this what I called a ninja in my childhood? They have really researched a lot of things. This should be what the evil cultivator taught them. As he spoke, he followed the group of people directly. After following for dozens of kilometers, they finally came to a large mountain. Under this mountain is a tunnel several kilometers long. The moment he saw this tunnel, Yang Lin knew the purpose of their trip. Calculated according to time, the train he was riding would pass through this tunnel in exactly half an hour. It was obvious that these ninjas from the small days were planning to do something in this tunnel. Just when Yang Lin understood this, the group of people who came to the mountain had already begun to take action. I saw that they had a clear division of labor. They each opened their suitcases and took out a variety of tools. Most of them are feng shui tools such as dragon ruler and compass. From Yang Lin's professional point of view, these young people are actually quite accomplished in feng shui. In a few clicks, he found the dragon vein of this mountain. Then he took out digging tools such as shovels, luoyang shovels, and started digging all over the mountain. A closer look revealed that the place they were digging happened to be where the dragon veins were walking. After doing this, it was not enough. They also took out quicklime and poured it into the big pits. The technique is so skillful that it is obviously not the first time he has done this kind of thing. When everything was over, changes immediately began to occur on this mountain. There was a layer of mist between the mountains and forests. Even the sky in this area has an extra cloud. Apparently, the tricks these little guys had used had begun to work. The dragon's energy that was originally flowing smoothly in the mountain below him also began to become clogged. If it cannot be cleared in time, the big dragon will become angry in half an hour, which will then cause the earth dragon to turn over, which is a small-scale earthquake. By that time, the tunnels under the mountain will inevitably be buried by the earthquake. One can imagine what kind of accident will happen to the entire train in the tunnel. I am afraid that the lives of a whole car of people will be ruined. Yang Lin suddenly became murderous when he thought of how ruthless these young people were to prevent him from going to the Magic City. But he finally held back, because he knew that as long as he took action, it would lead to disaster. At that time, the people in the entire train will only be in more danger. Therefore, these people must die, but they cannot die by their own hands. Thinking of this, he immediately regained consciousness. The first time the soul returned to the body, he said to Huawa beside him, "Contact the train staff and ask them to stop the train." Ah! Now, several people wearing robes suddenly appeared and said that the tunnel ahead would collapse. How could they believe it? With a hint of disbelief, Huawa asked again. After repeatedly confirming that she heard correctly, Huawa was stunned for a moment. After all, special vehicles will patrol the train tracks every day to ensure that there are no safety hazards on the road before the train can pass. Huawa, who was still reading the Taoist scriptures carefully, suddenly heard Yang Lin's words and was stunned. Although they didn't know why such a thing happened, for the sake of the safety of everyone on the train, they found the conductor as soon as possible. "Master, what did you want me to do?" "No way, the sky is clear, there is no bad weather, and the geology in this area has always been relatively stable, and it doesn't look like a landslide will occur." Only then did the staff on the train reluctantly believe them. After some calculations, her expression also changed suddenly. But a few people were more or less confused at this moment. "What the master said is true. I just gave each of you a divination, and each of you showed a sign of great misfortune. Let's go, it's your turn to appear next. Tell the conductor that the tunnel ahead will collapse soon and ask them to stop the car in advance." At this time, Boss Yang and others sitting nearby seemed to have heard their conversation, and they all poked their heads over curiously. He used his status as a public figure as a guarantee and promised that he would bear all the consequences. At the same time, emergency braking was applied to the train, causing the high-speed train to stop halfway. Yes, this matter involves too much. The high-speed rail cannot be stopped just by saying it stops. Appearing. "What are you doing?" Seeing that they could not be persuaded, Boss Yang and others had no choice but to reveal their identities directly. After notifying their superiors about the matter, they immediately informed all passengers through the train's loudspeaker. He even doubted whether he heard correctly. At first, these conductors and the conductor did not believe what they said. Several people obviously didn't quite understand what Yang Lin meant. As soon as these words came out, several people's eyes immediately followed the direction pointed by Yang Lin's finger. Naturally, I stepped in to solve the problem this time. You don't think this landslide is a normal incident, do you? The same goes for those passengers. The air of death is lingering above their heads. There will be a catastrophic disaster soon. Just as everyone was talking about it, Boss Yang suddenly stretched out his fingers and started counting. Until Yang Lin led them off the train and pointed to a mountain dozens of kilometers ahead. Just when the train had just stopped, Yang Lin suddenly stood up from his seat and walked towards Boss Yang and others. When Yang Lin and Boss Yang both said that something would happen to this train, there was no longer any doubt in the minds of everyone present. "You guys go and solve it before it happens." After Yang Linfen said these words calmly, he looked at the few people quietly, as if he believed in you. "Master, are you telling the truth? Will there really be a landslide ahead? Look carefully and see what you can see." Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 437. Following the direction pointed by Yang Lin's finger, several people immediately saw the mountain. As the only one among the few who had practiced the 16-character Feng Shui secret technique, Kun Kun could see the problem at a glance. Huh? There's something wrong with that mountain. Its Feng Shui has been altered by others. If it is not dealt with, it may immediately cause the earth dragon to turn over. Hearing Kun Kun's words, Yang Lin on the side immediately nodded with satisfaction. "Yes, it seems you have put in enough effort. So now you know what you have to do." As soon as these words came out, everyone nodded. They had roughly guessed that someone must be tampering with the mountain, which caused the Feng Shui to change. Suddenly several people became filled with indignation. With a strong sense of justice, they couldn't wait to rush over now and find those who were causing trouble up there and beat them up. But soon they also thought of a problem. That's such a long distance. How should they get across? If they just run over like this, the tunnel will have already collapsed by the time they get over. Thinking of this, several people looked at Yang Lin again. And Yang Lin seemed to have thought of this a long time ago. In front of several people, he took out 5 magic swords. Pandeo will teach you something again today. You must listen carefully. The moment Yang Lin took out these 5 magic swords, the eyes of the 5 people immediately lit up. Although Yang Lin hadn't spoken yet, they had already guessed something. And what Yang Lin said next was exactly what they thought. You have been practicing Taoism for some time, and the magic power in your body can operate freely. I will leave the sword control skill to you. Please remember the formula. After that, Yang Lin began to teach the techniques and experience of sword control. When several people saw this, they also cheered up. In the train on the other side, due to the sudden stop of the train, the passengers in the carriage also had various opinions. The carriage became very noisy for a while. Many passengers felt that the carriage was too stuffy and walked out of the carriage. And when they saw Yang Lin, Boss Yang, and others standing in front of the train, they couldn't help but show curiosity on their faces. What are these Taoist priests doing standing there? I don't know. If a person holds a sword in his hand, is it possible that he still needs to take advantage of this time to practice? It seems like they stopped the train just now because they said there was a problem ahead. Just when everyone was expressing doubts, Lu Tianxian suddenly threw the long sword in his hand away. The long sword that was supposed to fall freely actually floated after flying out. Not only that, it even circled Lu Tianxian several times. Seeing this scene, the passengers who were watching the excitement were instantly stunned. They even suspected that they were hallucinating. What's going on? Is that sword over there flying in the sky? It's really flying in the sky. Is this the legendary flying sword? Honey, come out and watch the flying sword. Before everyone could recover from the shock, several other people also controlled flying swords and started flying through the sky. In just a few minutes, they have gone from raw to proficient. Just when everyone thought it was over, Lu Tianxian suddenly turned over lightly and stepped directly on the flying sword. The next second, in front of thousands of passengers, she was flying directly in mid-air with her sword. It was shaky at first, but it didn't take long for her to figure out the way. Coupled with that elegant Taoist robe, she truly deserves the name of an immortal at this moment. When Boss Yang and the other 4 people saw her like this, they immediately imitated her. Soon, 4 more figures appeared in the sky. The 5 people soared above the sky like the legendary swordsmen, and their speed was even faster than the high-speed rail. At this moment, the passengers on the train were completely stunned. In the past, scenes like this could only be seen on TV, but now they are witnessing it with their own eyes in real life. Apart from being shocked, there was also a hint of excitement in their eyes. Flying with a sword, this is the flying with a sword in the novel. It's not too handsome at all. I just said that these Taoist priests have something real, and I was indeed right. This is not a Taoist priest, this is an immortal priest. This world is getting more and more magical, and sword fairies are coming out. So are they really going to the Demon King to slay the demon this time? Do you think these 5 people flying with swords look a bit familiar? When you say that, it sounds familiar. However, before these passengers could recognize the identities of Boss Yang and others, they all flew back to Yang Lin. You have mastered the art of sword control, so your next task is to go over there to break their formation and restore the dragon's veins. What you need to pay attention to is that there are young ninjas there. They may have some special methods. When you conflict with them, be extra careful. After carefully explaining the sentence, Yang Lin took out a small white snake from his sleeve and handed it to Boss Yang's hand. Seeing this little snake, which was no thicker than a finger, everyone's eyes flashed with surprise. Only Xiao Yuyu had a frightened expression on his face, as if he was thinking of the little tiger from before. Okay, you go and come back quickly. When Yang Lin finished saying this, the 5 people immediately showed serious expressions on their faces. Although they had assisted the police in arresting the perverted murderer before, the situation this time was completely different. This time they have to face a young Feng Shui master who is proficient in Feng Shui and all kinds of evil ways. You don't need to think about it to know that there will be a fierce battle next. But they didn't have any fear in their hearts. After summoning the flying swords one after another, the 5 people stepped on the flying swords and flew quickly towards the top of the mountain. In less than 5 minutes, they flew to the top of the mountain. With just one glance, they saw Zyrili's arrangement on the top of the mountain, and at the same time they also saw the group of Zyrizu with panic-stricken faces. God knows what these young people thought when they saw 5 sword-wielding people coming overhead. How is it possible that these Taoist priests from the Dragon Kingdom can actually fly? Looks like they've discovered us. We can't stay here any longer, we have to leave immediately. What about the formation here? I can't control that much anymore. Let's detonate it in advance. After talking about this, the group of little people started making hand gestures and reciting weird spells at the same time. When Boss Yang and the other 5 people in the sky saw them like this, they didn't know what they were thinking. No, they are going to start causing trouble. We need to stop them quickly. After that, the 5 people dived towards the top of the mountain. They didn't forget to pick up the spells in their hands. It was obvious that they had learned some Taoist spells from Yang Lin during these days. Among them, Lu Tianxian took out a large number of talismans and threw them downwards like a goddess scattering flowers. In an instant, bursts of noise erupted from the top of the mountain. There was the sound of thunder, the sound of explosions, the sound of metal hitting metal, and the screams of little children. Because the noise was so loud, even if they were dozens of kilometers away, the passengers on the train could hear it clearly, and they could even see the lightning bursting from the top of the mountain. Combined with the back figures of Boss Yang and the other 5 people flying into the air with their swords just now, they instantly realized something. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 438. On the top of the mountain, Boss Yang and other 5 people came with swords, and they soon got into a group with the young ninjas here. The 5 people have practiced with Yang Lin for many days and have already acquired various skills. Talismans, magic tricks are at your fingertips. And that group of ninjas were not vegetarians. They accepted the teachings of the evil cultivator and mastered special abilities similar to Onmyoji by worshipping ghosts and gods. Start forming the seal as soon as your hands come together. Various types of spells were actually released. In addition, several ninjas drew sharp samurai swords from their backs and killed the 5 people. The swiftness of the movements far exceeds ordinary people's imagination. Seeing that they were about to kill them, Xiao Yuyu among the 5 people immediately used the technique of inviting gods. In the next second, he was like the Hulk, completing his physical transformation. The original height of about 1.7 meters suddenly swelled to more than 2 meters, and black patterns appeared on the exposed muscles. The arms and thighs became twice as thick as before. There were beard-like lines on his face. At first glance, it doesn't look like a person, but like an upright tiger. Looking at the several ninjas rushing towards him, he immediately let out a tiger's roar that shocked the forest. In the next second, the whole person rushed out. Then he got into a fight with those ninjas holding samurai swords. Although the ninjas have sharp sword skills and great skills, Xiao Yuyu is not a vegetarian, and his muscles are as hard as granite. He grasped the 2 samurai swords that were slashing at him with both hands, and then crushed the extremely sharp samurai swords to pieces with a slight force. Seeing this scene, the knife-wielding ninjas were immediately dumbfounded. Xiao Yuyu also took advantage of this gap to swing out a claw, and in an instant a ninja was sent flying by him. The entire chest was torn open. After falling to the ground, I couldn't get up for a long time. Seeing the miserable condition of their companions, the other knife-wielding ninjas immediately showed fear on their faces. They stepped back and put their hands into their pockets. As soon as he raised his hand, hidden weapons like a heavy rain rushed towards Xiao Yuiyu's direction. However, in the face of these powerful hidden weapons, Xiao Yuiyu did not even try to hide. I saw him suddenly opening his huge mouth, and then a gust of wind accompanied by the roar of a tiger came out of his huge mouth. The hidden weapons that were originally flying towards him were immediately blown away by the strong wind. Caught off guard, those ninjas were directly beaten into pieces by these hidden weapons, and it was almost impossible to survive. At the same time, Boss Yang and others on the other side were also using their own methods. Especially Huahua, the spells in her mouth almost never stop, and with her flexible hands, she directly transforms into a spell machine gun. Next was Lu Tianxian, who threw out the talismans in large quantities as if they were free of charge. Facing such indiscriminate attacks from everyone, the group of ninjas couldn't stand it in an instant. They were originally just low-level figures in the organization, and were not even qualified to master higher level onmyoji. Under the attack of 5 people, there is basically no power to fight back. However, they were obviously not willing to be defeated like this. After being beaten back and forth, their leader suddenly took out something from his body. If you look closely, you will see a scroll filled with black runes. I saw him spreading the scroll on the ground while letting his companions cover him. After spreading it out completely, he bit his finger and squeezed out a large amount of blood onto the scroll. The moment the scroll came into contact with blood, the black runes above came to life like tadpoles. Soon, an evil force overflowed from the scroll. Feeling this evil power, the expressions of Boss Yang and the other 5 people suddenly changed in an instant. It's such a strong evil spirit. They are trying to release something. Whatever it is, stop them quickly. As they spoke, several people were ready to interrupt the little boy's spellcasting. However, they had just started to take action when black smoke billowed out of the scroll. The black smoke suddenly shot out dozens of meters high, and even the group of passengers dozens of kilometers away could clearly see it. Before they could figure out why something strange was happening there, a giant basilisk with 8 heads emerged from the black smoke. As soon as the giant basilisk appeared, it opened its 8 huge mouths and spit out long snake messages, looking around fiercely. The group of ninjas just breathed a sigh of relief. 2 of the heads of the basilisk suddenly bit the 2 ninjas in front of them and swallowed them alive. When the other surviving ninjas saw this situation, they immediately turned around and ran away. But it's okay if they don't move. If they move, they immediately become the target of the basilisk. The basilisk just swept its long tail, and the surviving ninjas were whipped into the sky one after another. The next second, several of the basilisk's heads couldn't wait to open their mouths and swallowed them fiercely into their stomachs. So far, this group of young ninjas have been completely wiped out, but they did not die in the hands of Boss Yang and others, but died in the mouth of the Shikigami they summoned. The 5 people who witnessed all this with their own eyes also broke into cold sweat and their scalps were numb. How had they ever seen such a ferocious and cruel monster? What the hell is this? How can it be so powerful? It must be some evil thing that I figured out when I was young. What to do? Should we run or stay and fight it? Running is definitely not possible. The formations left by those little people have not been broken yet. The mountain will collapse soon. We must break their formations before the tunnel collapses. Then fight. Just when the 5 people were getting ready to fight, the little white snake that had been hidden in the sleeves of Boss Yang's Taoist robe suddenly came out. After it emerged, A pair of ruby-like eyes looked straight at the basilisk in front of it. His eyes seemed to be filled with disdain. Before anyone could react, the little guy fell directly to the ground. The next second, in their stunned expressions, the little snake, which was only as thick as a finger, suddenly began to expand rapidly. 1 meter, 2 meters, 5 meters, 10 meters, and finally expanded to a behemoth approaching 50 meters. The waist alone is thicker than a bucket. And a single horn grew out of the top of its head, which was bigger than a millstone. Coupled with his majestic form, he is clearly an extremely ferocious dragon. The 8-headed basilisk, which was originally menacing and exuding evil aura, was like a young child in front of it. Feeling the fear, the 8-headed basilisk was about to run away when the white dragon suddenly opened its huge mouth and bit it hard. In the end, the 8-headed basilisk showed no resistance at all, and was bitten alive on the spot, turning into a streak of evil energy and disappearing between heaven and earth. This scene not only shocked the 5 people present, but also shocked the passengers who were staying beside the train. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q in Love is. Chapter 439. The passengers on the train were still confused when they saw Boss Yang and the other 5 flying toward the mountain with their swords. When the fight started later, they vaguely guessed something. But when the 8-headed basilisk and the white dragon appeared, they realized that the situation was gradually starting to become outrageous. In an instant, everyone present exploded. Oh my God, what is that over there? Is it a dragon? A white dragon? No, that doesn't seem to be a dragon. The dragon has a pair of horns on its head. This one only has a single horn on its head. It's a dragon. It's a giant white dragon. Then what is that thing opposite it? A big snake with 8 heads. This world is really full of weird things. So when they flew over just now, it was really to get rid of the demon. The tunnel will collapse, it must be because of the 8-headed snake. If you think about it this way, everything will fall into place. If the tunnel really collapsed by the snake, and we happened to pass through it, we would be dead. There's basically no chance of survival. In such an environment, even rescue operations cannot be carried out normally. By the time we are dug out, the bodies will stink. As soon as these words came out, everyone was immediately frightened, and the expressions on their faces were full of fear. What just happened was also recorded by their mobile phone cameras. This scene will become a memory that they will never forget in their lifetime. While the group of train passengers were talking a lot, Boss Yang and others on the hilltop were also looking at the white dragon in front of them with shock on their faces. It was really difficult for them to connect the huge creature in front of them with the little snake from before. On the other hand, Xiao Yuya showed an unexpected expression. I should have guessed a long time ago that none of the little animals beside Master are simple. That little tiger can become a big one, let alone this little snake. It's so terrifying. No wonder his statue can be enshrined next to the statue of the Master. Just when they were filled with emotion as they looked at the dragon in front of them, the body of the giant white dragon suddenly began to shrink, and finally turned into its original appearance of a small snake. After some twisting, he returned to Boss Yang's body again. It's like nothing happened just now. Everyone watching was stunned. Okay, don't waste any more time. I think the movement of dragon energy here has begun to be blocked. If it can't be cleared in time, I'm afraid it will cause the Earth Dragon to turn over soon. Kun Kun among the few people frowned after looking around. Immediately, he used the 16-character Feng Shui secret technique to search around. It doesn't take long to find those places that have been ruined by the little days. Hurry up and help. If you're late, it'll be too late. Just as he was speaking, the whole mountain began to shake slightly. When the other people saw this, they didn't dare to delay. They immediately searched and rummaged around the mountain under Kunkun's command, and restore the places destroyed by the small days one by one. During this process, the vibrations of the mountain became more and more obvious, and even people in the direction of the train could clearly feel it. Instantly, there was a trace of panic on their expressions. "Look, the mountains over there seem to be shaking. Is this an earthquake?" "This is not an earthquake. Didn't you see that there was only one mountain shaking over there? The mountain seems to be coming to life. It's so scary." Fortunately we stopped in time, otherwise the problem would have been huge. Just when everyone thought that the mountain was about to collapse, the original vibration of the mountain suddenly stopped. Everything came without warning. The mountain, which was shaking non-stop 1 second, immediately became quiet as usual the next second. As quickly as it came, it went as quickly as it came. "What's going on? Why aren't you shaking again? Can an earthquake be suppressed?" It's better to say that the Taoist priests who just flew over prevented the earthquake from happening. It goes without saying that it must have something to do with them. Just when everyone was wondering why the earthquake suddenly disappeared, 5 sword lights appeared again in the sky. After a while, these 5 sword lights flew to the top of everyone's heads, and then slowly fell down. From now on, we can no longer laugh at Hua for doing what she does on stage. Now people really know how to do it. Fuck, let's see if any of you dare to hack our pigeons in the future. How could it be a TV series? What special effects could be so realistic? After getting closer, these passengers finally recognized the identities of the 5 people. Because of this, they seemed more and more excited, and as for the danger involved, they were ignored. While talking, several people's faces showed expressions of unfinished understanding. 10 minutes later, the train to the Magic City started again. A few months ago he was singing, dancing and playing rap there, and a few months later he has become a little god who is an accomplished monastic. It turns out that there is really some mischief going on there. Then the earthquake was also resolved by them. What a hearty battle. So we just saw a group of top stars this year, wielding swords in the air and slaying demons. Apparently the battle just now was enough for them. This world is too absurd. Suddenly the scene almost got out of control and turned into a large-scale star-chasing scene. Obviously this is because they prevented the landslide and saved the lives of a whole car of people, so they gained these karma. So it was them who were flying with the sword and slaying demons just now. Is that Kun over there? It was Boss Yang and the other 5 people who left not long ago. I even have some doubts that this is a TV series. It feels like a dream. My favorite idol is actually cultivating immortality. In these days, there are still legends about ninjutsu. They also summoned a big snake behind them, but Ziobai bit him to death. This is incredible. They were immediately surrounded by water. If the train hadn't restarted soon, they probably wouldn't have left. Master, we have settled the matter satisfactorily. In addition to this reason, they also felt a large amount of karma blessing them. During those days of training on the mountain, they had no chance to practice in actual combat. The first thing they did after landing was to walk up to Yang Lin with excitement on their faces. Nothing happened in the subsequent process until Yang Lin led a group of Taoist priests to successfully arrive at the Modu high-speed railway station. It's Boss Yang, and Lu Tianxian and the others. Just when the 5 people were excitedly showing off their merits to Yang Lin, everyone on the train also gathered around them. I really don't dare to do that now. Oh my god, Xiao Yuiyu and Hua are here too. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 440. As one of the most prosperous high-speed rail stations in Dragon Kingdom, the Modu high-speed railway station has been crowded with tourists in the past. And when Yang Lin came down from the train with a group of Taoist priests wearing Taoist robes, he instantly attracted countless eyes. Different from the previous time at the Luteng City High-Speed Railway Station, the passengers at the Motu High-Speed Railway Station already knew the identities of Yang Lin and the others. At the same time, I also learned what happened to them during their arrival. Because of this, the emotions of these passengers immediately became extremely excited. It's Yang Lin and the others. I just saw their videos on Douyin, but I didn't expect to see them in person so soon. Boss Yang and the other 5 are all here. So the video of them flying with their swords just now is true. That must be true. It's obvious that they followed Yang Lin and have successfully cultivated Taoism. See if you can squeeze in and get an autograph. While everyone was talking, hundreds of passengers swarmed in the direction of Yang Lin and others. They were about to be surrounded and unable to move. The next second, black special service vehicles suddenly drove up outside the waiting hall of the high-speed rail station. Under the gaze of countless people, a SWAT soldier wearing a SWAT uniform and armed with ammunition trotted down from these special service vehicles. Hundreds of people separated from the crowd, and then came together to Yang Lin and others. After seeing Yang Lin, one of the leading SWAT soldiers immediately saluted. "Hello, Taoist Master Yang. On behalf of the Magic City, I welcome you." Everyone who was already confused when they saw the scene suddenly widened their eyes. Such a large formation was only used when receiving foreign guests. Unexpectedly, this time when Yang Lin and others arrived, there would be special policemen responsible for clearing the way. In an instant, they remembered some previous rumors on the internet. No way, the special police are here. Is something big really going to happen in the Magic City this time? Needless to say, it's ironclad. Stop talking, I'm going to refund the ticket now. I have a hunch that something very exciting will definitely happen next. I also went to refund the ticket. Under the watch of countless passengers, Yang Lin and other Taoist priests were quickly led outside the high-speed rail station. There were already several buses lined up neatly there. "Taoist Master Yang, please get in the car. The leaders are already waiting for you." He is still the same SWAT soldier from before. Hearing his words, Yang Lin nodded politely to him, and then spoke to the Taoist priests behind him. "Get in the car and have a good rest after getting in the car. You may not have much time to rest next." As soon as these words came out, the faces of the more than 200 Taoist priests, Boss Yang, and other 5 people couldn't help but become serious. They naturally knew what Yang Lin was talking about. Half an hour later, everyone took the bus and arrived at the courtyard of the Armed Police Special Brigade in the Magic City area. When he saw this place, Yang Lin couldn't help but show a hint of surprise on his face. He had previously told the leaders of Luteng City the truth of the matter, and they must have also passed the news to the relevant people in charge of Magic City. Just when Yang Lin was wondering why he came to this location, the bus slowly stopped in the compound. What's more, the words came from the mouth of Yang Lin, a nationally recognized immortal cultivator, so they were even more valuable. For him, Magic City was a completely unfamiliar city, so it was naturally impossible for him to lead a group of Taoist priests and rush directly into other people's buildings. Among them are the relevant persons in charge of the special police and armed police. As for those who followed Yu Jinlong, they were all important leaders responsible for various departments in Magic City. Because snipers have always been prepared for those extremely vicious and armed gangsters. They have to believe it even if they don't believe it. As soon as Yang Lin got out of the car, the group of people came forward with excitement on their faces. The location of this building is also very particular. It is between the dragon veins and water veins of the Demon City. It is the most prosperous place in the entire Demon City. In order to solve the huge hidden danger hidden in the Magic City, we specially invited Taoist Master Yang and many experts from the Taoist sect this time. I think everyone already knows the reason for calling everyone here this time, so I won't go into details. But there have indeed been too many things happening in the entire Dragon Kingdom recently, and there is also the precedent of Luteng City. After saying this, he immediately looked at Yang Lin and motioned for Yang Lin to come to the main seat. If this was said before, they would never believe it. So, Dao Kang Yang will be responsible for arranging and directing us next, and all departments must cooperate unconditionally. Yang Lin was not polite to him and walked straight to the big screen in the middle of the conference room. As soon as the car parked, a group of leaders wearing white shirts appeared outside the car. When the time is right, we will cut off the 2 dragon veins of the demon city in one fell swoop, thereby affecting the national destiny of the entire dragon kingdom. As soon as he sat down, Yu Jinlong went straight to the topic. According to what Pandeo learned from the young Onmyoji in Lutang City, they had already manipulated the dragon veins and water pulses under the ground in this building 10 years ago, and laid out a dragon-slaying trap. Formation. Therefore, cooperation between various departments is particularly important at this time. Although everyone present had heard the general idea before, when they once again learned about Xiaozai's wolf ambition through Yang Lin's mouth, their hearts were filled with raging anger again. It wasn't until Yang Lin said the next words that they suddenly understood. After Yang Lin finished explaining the basic situation to everyone present, he immediately began to arrange tasks. Later, during the conversation with him, Yang Lin learned that the unattractive-looking man in front of him turned out to be a deputy mayor named Yu Jinlong. Any manipulation at this location will definitely affect the fortunes of the entire Magic City, ranging from economic turmoil to a catastrophic disaster. Welcome to you, Taoist Master Yang. Ever since we learned the news, we have been looking forward to your arrival, and today we are really looking forward to your arrival. In addition, the security department is required to control the scene. No one is allowed to approach the financial center building, and no one is allowed to go out in the financial center. Snipers are on standby at the commanding heights of all buildings around the financial center in case of emergencies. A middle-aged man in the crowd who looked to be in his 40s immediately reached out his right hand. Since Pandeo and others are going to take action today, before taking action, Pandeo also hopes that the traffic control department will conduct traffic control within a 5-kilometer radius and not allow any vehicles or pedestrians to pass. Everyone could still understand the first 2 arrangements, but when they heard the third one, everyone couldn't help but have a trace of doubt on their faces. I believe that everyone here has heard of the legends about this building at one time or another. What Pandeo wants to tell you today is that those legends are not groundless, but actually exist. What is projected on the big screen at this moment is the overall photo of the Shanghai Financial Center. After greeting these people, Yang Lin and the Taoist priests were led to a huge conference room.